Dr. Sarah Matz, professor and serial entrepreneur and author of the Borderless Healthcare Revolution. Welcome to the Future of MedTech Opportunities.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Kayleen.
I have had you on our FOMO series before, and I will have you again if you'll so allow.
I absolutely will.
Yes, sold. So today I really want to talk through connected health. I know you have a lot of experience, but can you share what brought you into connected health, what experience you have, catch us up.
Sure. So, I'm a surgeon by training. My fellowship's in burns, and I felt very, I'd say, constrained at the bedside, and that's why I moved into MedTech. And so my entire career, I've been building out product development and strategy teams all over the world. Everything from digital health solutions, so next-gen healthcare, all the electronic medical records people love to hate. And then at Oracle, I was there driving their platform infrastructure business for OCI globally, so cloud for healthcare and life sciences, which, again, I think from a connected perspective, it was during the days where Oracle was really a black horse in the cloud market, and people were trying to get off-prem. Folks were really considering how they could use more connectivity. And then I got to help Oracle acquire Cerner. So that was their largest acquisition in history. And bringing that entire portfolio into the fold was really exciting, really brought everything to the forefront, but also all the problems that still are here. So last year, you may have seen me at Boston DeviceTalks as the Chief Strategy Officer at Savado. They're doing great work in remote robotic surgery. But right now, I'm here on my book tour for the Borderless Healthcare Revolution. So I have built, I have implemented, I have driven strategy for so many connected health ideas, devices, et cetera.
I don't think that you often hear surgeon moved into Oracle. That's not, I think, a resume checklist that they typically search for, but that understanding of what it's like to be in the OR, the patient's need, and that experience, that has to be just completely rich in wealth for just hands-on knowledge for the team. So
absolutely,
thank you for bettering the ecosystem just with your experience. And then you've been able to touch so many more people.
Yes.
Not to say that you didn't make a huge impact one-on-one, but that's the beauty of the medtech industry. You're impacting millions of people.
Every day millions.
What a privilege.
It very much is.
So let's talk about challenges. You alluded to a little bit of those challenges. So the challenges when it comes to connected health, what are those today?
Right now, the technology is the easy part.
Interesting.
And I know we're here at DeviceTalks West. I know that everyone here is deep into it. But what I'd say is that tech is evolving at a rapid pace, and we're going to continue to do so. AI is continuing to move at a rapid pace. Manufacturing is moving at a rapid pace. I'm not worried about the technology. I'm worried about how we're going to actually implement it, produce programs around it, commercialize it properly so that great IP becomes great businesses. And so ultimately, we have to do everything from gain trust from providers and patients to consider financial models and reimbursement, and then ultimately make sure that all these interesting technologies are not just for the haves, but for everybody. So healthcare access is a huge push from me.
I mean, that's, I think, very much in line with your book, Borderless Healthcare, the Borderless Healthcare Revolution. So you talk a lot about that, and you're absolutely right. And there's two things that I want to unpack here. One, access for all.
Mm-hmm.
And the second here is that ultimately it's still a business.
Absolutely.
So if it isn't reimbursable, if we're not going to be able to pay for it, then it's not going to stick. And that's incredibly important. So what needs to fix? What do we need to do as an industry to try to solve those challenges?
So in my book, I really dig this into 5 pillars. So the 5 pillars of access are financial, trust and knowledge, cultural, digital, and financial. And so if you look at all of these pieces, I mean, we have tons of system engineers that are here at this conference. It's a system level view. Any problem you have in MedTech, if you look at those pieces when you're implementing or trying to figure out your commercialization strategy, that's the audit you need to do. So when we think about how we're going to get things reimbursed, how we're going to get these into the hands of folks, I think that a lot of startups in particular will use all of their resources on development. Oh, we have to get that prototype done. And absolutely, you need to get that prototype done. However, your commercialization strategy, how you're going to get it paid for, the reimbursement pieces, and again, that can be from country to country, from state to state, you name it, public versus private, those discussions and paths need to be built out when you're building the business case. And just like I mentioned before, this is the difference between having a cool solution and having a real business that's scalable and is going to make the impact that you're looking for.
I think you were saying all the keywords to the business side of our attendees at DeviceTalks.
Yes.
Like, that's so important. Have we made any progress today, like toward what we're talking about?
I think we have. One of the speakers today mentioned competition, and I think that's really important. So the more competition we have in the space, the more different organizations that are pushing forth new advances, new ways of doing things, I think that's best, because ultimately then we have all these different organizations working towards reimbursement, working with the societies, working with different ministries of health. And I think that if we have only one, it's not going to be as effective. If we have lots of folks saying, hey, we have tons of usage here, we know we need to get this out to the people, how can we do it? And there's all those groups doing it, then people start listening.
Makes a lot of sense. Do you have any maybe specific technological or technology advancements that might help support what we're talking about?
So when I think about soft tissue robotics, I mean, there's so much going on in that space. We have some really big players, but there's also lots of smaller players all over the world. And so when we see some of the keynotes for tomorrow as an example on remote robotic surgery, and the work from Intuitive as an example, man, there's great work there. And we are so close to doing this at scale. But if we only had one organization doing that, pushing the FDA, pushing other organizations throughout the world, we would just have one. And so I really appreciate that the virtual incisions of the world, the J&Js, the smaller guys, there's so many great Japanese and South Korean companies that are really pushing in remote robotics right now. Those are the ways we have new innovation, new architecture, and new ways to reimburse. Because I don't know if you know this, but if I did a lap chole today, so laparoscopic cholecystectomy, removing a gallbladder, it's the same codes if you do it laparoscopically or with a robot. You don't get paid any more.
Then what's the incentive?
Well, right now, providers are actually demanding the use of robots because it's better for them. They're not standing all day, and the outcomes tend to be better. So new papers that are coming out are showing improved outcomes, less pain, things like that. But they're actually not getting reimbursed more.
I'm just going to let that sit for a second.
I know, right? We could have an entire series on that one.
I'm going to have you back, and we're going to talk about that more. Let's take it into when we think about connected health, what do we think connected health is today, and what could it be in the future?
So I'd say that today, connected health has no real borders. So we have everything from the wearables that I'm covered in right now, or everyone has in their pocket. And then we have therapeutics that are absolutely prescribed. We have the devices that we have the big players putting and implanting. But there's all sorts of pieces. What is connected? Is it your phone? Is that connected health? I don't think we have a really good definition. But what I would say about it is that here I am, I've got my Oura Ring on. I'm testing out the Apollo right now. We'll see if that works. I have my cell phone. You have multiple devices on you. And we're super privileged. I have the ability to buy these wellness devices out of pocket. But the folks that may need them most may not have the extra funding to go this direction. And we're actually seeing a lot of connected health companies go the direction of wellness because there's less regulation from an FDA perspective. There's less oversight. They don't have to get things through a reimbursement model. They're going straight to consumer. However, like we just mentioned, from an access perspective, this leaves out a huge population.
In like a 30-second or less sort of wrap up, what could the future of connected health look like if these problems are solved in a perfect world? What could it look like 10 years from now?
10 years is way too long to think about. I think 12 months is probably as far ahead as we can even consider right now. But I'm going to name drop Dexcom right now because they're working on glucose monitoring and the ability to use pumps, et cetera, for the consumer, but it's also a prescribed and covered entity. And so I think that we're going to find ways to assist with chronic disease like diabetes, find ways to have it prescribed and covered, but also have those wellness elements that give insights to the actual patient and user here and now in real time. And I think that's the best of all worlds. And ultimately, I'm hoping that we can go that direction with other technologies.
Well, Dr. Sarah Matt, I've loved every second with you. I'm going to definitely have you back on. How can our audience find you?
Sure. So my book is called The Borderless Healthcare Revolution. It's up for pre-sale right now in all the major retailers, but everyone can go to drsarahmatt.com, learn all about me and what I've been up to, but also learn more about the book. The first chapter is actually available right now.
Well, I've already read it. Dr. Sarah Matt, thank you so much again for joining us.
Absolutely.